Hey guys, this is James, or if you know me on the internet, my name is Smalls. I stream on Twitch at Smalls TV pretty regularly, and this is kind of like my little guide to get out of low elo. For the most part, a lot of these tips are common knowledge or have already been utilized by many of the players that have been playing this game for months. But this is more so for like newer players or maybe even the lower elo players that haven't like noticed these things or have gotten any kind of coaching or anything like that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your headshot angles. You never want to walk like this around the map, right? You never want to have your crosshair at the ground. You never want to have it like towards their ankles, anything like that. You want to have your crosshair where you think their head's going to be. And where their head's going to be is about right here on one of these tall boxes, right? So they can actually see the top of your head on the other side of this box. So about this much is where your headshot is, right? So you want to keep that angle up wherever you're going. You want to keep that angle around headshot the best you can. Obviously, there's going to be some deviation in your aim, but you want to come around corners peeking with that headshot, right? You don't want to be down, you don't want to be running around the map and then seeing somebody right here and being at their legs. Because then if you're relying on spray, it takes about 5 bullets to actually get up to where their head level is. So you don't want to be aiming at their leg. The second thing I want to talk about is the angle. You don't really want to peek angles crouched, and you don't want to peek them walking that much. So you don't want to peek crouched because you are slower than if you were walking, and your head level is at the gut. And now in lower elo, so many people aim for the gut. Nobody, like a lot of people are not aiming for the head. They're not confident enough in their shot, and they just aim a little more towards central mass. And that's fine for some people, but if you want to progress in this game, headshots. You got to learn your headshot angles. You got to learn how you're going to beat your opponent. So you don't want to peek corners slowly like this because you're just gonna get destroyed every time. They're gonna see you before you see them, and even if they don't see you first, all it takes is you to mess up a shot, and then they turn around or they shoot you, and then you can't move. You go to stand up, and your movement speed is still crouching speed, right? There's not much difference there in that speed. So you don't want to peek corners crouched. You also don't want to peek corners too close to the corner. Now, what I mean by that is you don't want to be hugging a wall because right now, if there was an enemy over there, half of my body is exposed and I can't actually see them. Now, to give you an example of this, I'm just gonna back up straight. I'm holding my S key only. Look how much of that door opens up just by backing up this little bit, right? Hugging the wall, backing up. Now, see, that is a lot of frames difference. So if somebody's in that door, they already see you well before that you see them. Like, that's just how that's going to happen if you're standing at this angle. So you want to swing angles quickly, but also pre-firing accurately. So how you're going to do this is with a counter strafe, which is your A and your D key. So if you tap your A key and your D key, it'll stop you, right? So this is counter strafing. So if you learn how to do it perfectly, your shot should look something like this. And notice how I'm moving the whole time. And my shots are just going straight for the most part. That is counter-strafing. You learn how to do that, you're going to beat 90% of the low elo players in this game. 100% of the time. So you either want to tap corners like that and pre-fire, or you want to do a quick swing, right? So if you think somebody might be sitting in this corner, you want to swing quick and pre-fire. Swing quick, pre-fire. And then one more thing is in high elo, in Immortal, what a lot of people will do is if they think somebody's like holding them right there, right? And they're right here. They're going to take their knife out and they're just going to go like this. They're going to jump spot. It's a quick thing, but they're going to jump spot. And as long as you don't hit the wall like I just did there, you can get back behind the wall with only taking 1 bullet. And sometimes not even taking any bullets, just getting the knowledge that somebody's actually there. Now, 3 is noise. We're gonna talk about the noise a little bit because everything in this game pretty much makes a noise. Now, the healing makes a noise. Not when you're pulling it out, but when you activate it on somebody, it'll make a noise. Now, that noise is shown above in the map. If you're sprinting around, you see that noise circle. That's basically the distance that your footsteps travel. Same with, like, if you melee, that noise comes up again. Abilities trigger it also. Weapons do not, because weapons can be heard pretty much anywhere on the map for the most part. So that noise is very important. For example, say that you're trying to retake a site. You're coming up here. Say you're walking, so that way they can't hear you at first. Yeah, you can just, like, maybe look this way, and you can maybe sneak by over there without actually getting seen by somebody lurking in B. But if you are rotating from C and your B player has died, or you have nobody in B, and you're sprinting like this, and then you start walking right here, right? You're sprinting, and then you walk, right? That circles up long enough to where somebody can be around this area in B, and they can hear you, so they're going to hold that angle, no matter if you just started walking or not, right? So so that way you're not seen over there first. You're going to hug this wall, you're going to clear these corners, make sure nobody's holding that, and then what you're going to do is quickly swing like this and see if anybody is holding this angle. Because if somebody's lurking, they're going to shoot you in the back right here if they hear you sprinting from C. It's just how it works. It's not necessarily this, like this particular play, I guess. It can happen anywhere, at any angle. You just want to make sure that you always are looking to see how far your circle's traveling, right? Say I don't want somebody to hear me in garage, I'm going to start walking about right here, because that circle, they won't know that I'm coming from A. The next thing I want to talk about is spraying. Spraying is a good and a bad thing. You do not want a long-range spray by any means. At long range, you can burst and do perfectly fine, like this. But by no means do you want to spray at long range like this, right? There's too much deviation after about the 9th bullet. It's randomized after about the 9th, 10th bullet. So you want to just stick to quick bursts. The Phantom, you can spray with the Phantom at a longer range than the Vandal, but even then, I don't really recommend it, because I'm decent at controlling spray, and most of my bullets are about here, but you see that deviation, and then it kicks back, and there's 2 bullets over here. So spraying is not really the greatest idea. You want to stick more to the tapping, the bursting. Like, that's what you want to stick. Next, we'll talk about rotations. Rotating is a very strong response to one of your teammates being pushed on a site. So, for example, we're over here at A, and we have somebody peeking long A, right? Now, they see one person, but they don't see everybody. At that point, if nobody's challenging you, you want to keep holding this angle. Try to get as much information as you can without putting yourself in danger. If you only see a couple of them, you don't want to comm that they're coming A. You don't want to say that they're coming A unless you know you're being fast pushed or you see multiple of them cross A. And even at that point, you don't want to say it's a commitment until they maybe start dropping some smokes, commit some flashes, things like that. But you do want to rotate. So, for example, you typically will have 2 people playing A, 2 people playing B, one towards C side, one towards A side, one person holding A. Typically, it's a Cypher. Then you have a garage player and a C player. If you know that there's a few people, but you don't know how many there are, maybe you call for a rotate. You want one person to rotate over, and then if you guys know that there's going to be more, whoever's playing this angle at B can also rotate over, garage can pick up B, and then C can stay there. You always want at least one person staying at a site unless you have the bomb down. If you have the bomb down, that's fair game. You guys can rotate out. But you do want to be cautious for any lurkers on the rotate over. If your garage player went to B because your 2 B players went to A to help and you got 3 people on A, That means garage wide open. You don't want to sprint through here without being a little bit cautious, simply because there could be a lurker in garage trying for that long flank, or to get knowledge that nobody's on C, and then their team will just rotate back out and go C, and they'll be there before you guys are. And then the last thing I want to talk about, which is also, it's not even really a tip, it's just kind of common sense. You always want to buy with your team. This is a team game. This is an economy-based game. The more money that your team has, the better your buys are going to be, the better weaponry, better utility you're going to have. You never really want to be the only one buying. If your team is okay with forcing up and then the next round you guys are broke, perfectly fine. But you don't want like 2 people, 3 people unable to buy and you forcing up a rifle, because then that throws your economy way off. You're never going to have a team that's on the same baseline of money, and it's just going to be a negative impact on your team in the long run. So guys, this, like I said, these tips, they're very common knowledge for a lot of people. But at the same time, you gotta know that there's so many people stuck in elo hell, and these tips alone will help you get out of iron. I promise you. As long as you can work on your aim and your game sense, and you follow some of these rules, you'll get out of iron. You'll get out of bronze. You'll start getting into silver a little bit. You might even get into gold. It just takes a lot of practice and a lot of utilization of these tips, and you can go anywhere, really. I mean, if my aim was a little bit better, I could be radiant, but I'm not on that nutty level like a lot of other players are, so I'm at immortal. So I appreciate you guys taking the time. If these tips help you at all, please consider subscribing to the channel or checking out my Twitch at twitch.tv/smallstv. I stream there almost daily. Most of the time it's Valorant, but we do variety here and there. So I appreciate you guys once again for taking the time and checking it out. And if you'd like more videos like this, please leave a comment. Bye.